Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever the hell you are tuning in from. Welcome to Best Perspective. I'm your host, Stefan Rapazzo. As always, I've got a new guest coming in to share their story of how Ultimate grabbed them, and then to find out what makes them tick within the sport. And this week, I'm super happy to be able to introduce Mikey Lunn, one of the coaches of the Tokai Super Team, but that is really just scratching the surface of what he's done most recently. Mikey, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, good morning for me. It's 10:30 a.m., so not too bad.
Not too bad. I made you wait just a little bit. I had time association issues, I guess, or time conversion from me in Amsterdam to Mikey in Denver. It's like, yeah, my 9 is your 6, or your 9 is my 6, but I was wrong.
No,
And
I mean I can sympathize. It's coordinating schedules, doing a podcast it's not that straightforward as you
no,
think.
not at all. And so Mikey, of course, coach Tokai Super Team, prominence now with an awesome podcast, Pod Practice. He's wearing that beautiful pink jumpsuit, showing off the logo.
The ultimate.
Be Ultimate doing Pod Practice. And yeah, of course, a longtime player too, but I probably know a lot less about your playing days. I know a bit more about your coaching days, but yeah, take us back to the beginning, Mikey. Where did your Ultimate path begin? Where did you find Ultimate, or where did Ultimate find you?
Yeah, I mean it's not too interesting, I suppose. I like many players of my age in the States, didn't really find the sport till college. I've played some pickup in high school. It's kind of a funny story. So I'm from Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota, and we had a pickup game probably my junior and senior year, but it was like 20 on 20, no rules, no stacks, no dumps, only backhands. Take 3 steps before you throw, kind of thing.
Right.
But my senior year, my little pickup group started an intramural league for my high school. And I was the only one from the pickup game that didn't get invited to play on the actual intramural team.
Why was that? How the hell did that end up?
I think because I was probably the worst player and considered unathletic.
Kicking the shins.
Yeah.
So you said this is end of high school? This is like senior years of high school?
Yeah. So like
you're 18, 19, something like that?
Yeah, when I just I knew what the sport, I mean, I probably knew what the sport was in middle school, but I just in gym class, but nobody knew the rules or anything for real. And then in college, I went to Iowa State, although I'm not really in touch with the Iowa State program anymore. I get some messages every once in a while. I would definitely say I'm much more of a CU Mama Bird alum at this point. Even though I never played there.
That's coaching days only with CU.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that much. Okay, but you did have playing days at Iowa State. So Iowa Buckeyes, but that's not Iowa State. What's Iowa State?
No, and it's Ohio State Buckeyes. There's Iowa Hawkeyes, Iowa State Cyclones. And yeah, I played there in college, kind of on and off my freshman year, and then really fell in love with it my sophomore year. And started playing with a mixed team and club called CLX, Chad Larson Experience. And we had some good runs, couple silver place medals. Actually, no, it wasn't. Worlds was not in Amsterdam. It was in Prague when CLX won. Yep.
And were you playing by then with them?
Yeah. Well, I was on the team, but actually last minute I had to pull out from going to Worlds due to we'll call it health issues, personal issues. I couldn't make the trip.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a bummer, but
these things happen.
Yeah. But speaking of the Hawkeyes, so I went to Iowa State. I played there, but I actually went to our state rival, the Iowa Hawkeyes, and coached a women's team there called Saucy Nancy. And we had a few good runs. We made nationals all 3 years. lost to Oregon and Coach Lou Burris all 3 years, quarters, and semis. And actually, we played in the first ESPN filmed game in 2013 semis.
This is now the Iowa women's team that you're coaching. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. Some great players from that team.
So, okay. Wait, is this your first taste of coaching? Is Iowa University, Iowa women, Saucy Nancy's?
Yeah. I think it's fair to say you could say I dabbled at Iowa State after I graduated and just was had too much FOMO to leave entirely and stuck around to help out. But I wouldn't say I was really coaching until I moved across the state to Iowa City.
And so you went to Iowa for university, but then you clearly stayed a little bit longer in Iowa while you ended up taking on this coaching.
Stayed way too long, I'll say. I don't recommend.
The capital city of Iowa? Iowa City is what you said?
Des Moines.
Des Moines, Iowa. Okay.
It's a great little town. It's very affordable if you ever want to move to the States, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Not your number one choice of cities to move to.
No.
Okay, fair. Okay, what's the deal with university teams picking their own names? Is this allowed and sanctioned by the NCAA?
Well,
or is this is it only Ultimate? Because I feel like every university has the same team name every sports team has the same name, and then Ultimate, everything's totally. Saucy Nancy's. Everything's
whatever. We're Mama Bird here at CU.
But it's the Buffaloes. Every other team are the Colorado Buffaloes, no?
Yeah. It's because it's club sport. It's not sanctioned, I guess, or it's not a D1 sport. And that's very classic Frisbee, right? Pick some weird name. And identify with that.
But that's what gets me confused is there's D1 nationals, but that's just Division 1 amidst Ultimate teams only. It's not actually an NCAA classified D1
I suppose
sport.
That is confusing. Yeah. It's just how USA Ultimate classifies. D1 schools is of a certain size, and then there's D3. I don't know what the cutoff is.
And why is there no D2?
That's a great question.
All right. We'll get to the bottom.
I don't know how these things work. But Carleton, for instance, could qualify as a D3 school. I think their school enrollment is under 1,500 students. But they're the Duke of Ultimate Frisbee and, get a shit ton of talent.
Carleton, year after year, they just keep everybody knows that's the place to go to get your ultimate education.
Yeah. And from what I understand, at Carleton, they are everybody. I think everybody knows who the Frisbee players are.
Right, they've got the status going on over there,
so to speak.
I like to hear it. So back to Mikey. So you go to Iowa, Des Moines. You stuck around for a little while after you started your coaching career. First ever ESPN coaching gig. Where do you go from there? What's news from Des Moines? Is this about the point in time you end up making a move to Colorado?
Yes, 2013. I moved from Iowa City to Boulder, Colorado, and I was just reminiscing about this yesterday because I just played Grandmasters Nationals with my buddies that kind of got me out to Colorado. So one of my best friends, Bart Watson, who's an all-timer, Hall of Famer, one of the best players ever. He's on my Mount Rushmore for sure. We were friends. So if you want to hear the longer story, it's he's went to high school in Iowa, but kind of bounced around, and but he was most known. The prime of his career was in the Bay Area, where he went to Stanford, played for Jam, played for Revolver, I think won 3 championships, and then came back to Iowa for a year to do I think they call it a visiting professorship while I was still living there. So I became really close friends with him and his wife Liz, but they were only there for about a year, and then he got a job at the Brewers Association in Boulder, which is also where Ryan Farrell works. So Ryan Farrell and Bart Watson are two like amazing players. They've both played on World Games teams for USA. So like 6 months after he moved out, he sent me a job description. It was like, I think you might be a good fit for this. And I was eager to get out of Iowa, as I may have mentioned before. So yeah, I dropped everything, applied, and a couple months later moved out to Boulder, where I lived for about 6 years before kind of making my way down to Denver. It's like 30-40 minutes away. Yeah, so that's how I ended up here, and really found a home.
Nice. And I'm going to just rewind a little bit one more time. So you're coaching Iowa. You finished playing at Iowa State. Is there club in Iowa? Were you playing at the same time as you coached there for the years you
Shitty
were?
club. CLX was the team back then.
Okay, so that was Chad Larson. That was your playing days, playing mixed.
Mixed.
The Chad Larson experience is an Iowa team. Iowa State
based, yeah. A guy named Kevin Sealer. Usually, he's a Hall of Famer too. Kevin Sealer started the team. Do you want to hear the origin story of the name?
Yeah.
So another Iowa State alum. His name's Chad Larson. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He, I think they were trying to decide a name of some other team, and Chad made some joke like, how about we call it Team Chad Larson or something like that, and whoever it was said no team that named after Chad Larson would ever be any good. So the next year when they formed this mixed team, this was like 2003, Kevin remembered that and decided to name the team Chad Larson Experience.
Wow. In spite. Yeah. We'll show you
and
we'll never be good.
Yeah, and then the second year of existence, my first year on the team, we made finals. And every year I play on the team, we were always in semis. So that was 5 or 6 seasons.
So that was while you were playing at Iowa or at Iowa State, and while you were coaching at Iowa.
Yeah.
So all those years in Iowa, you were playing Chad Larson, CLX.
Yeah. So I actually had plans to go back to Minnesota and play for Sub-Zero. That never worked out. I never went back. Eventually, I did play men's with Madison Club, who's now defunct, and I would drive 3 hours to practice every weekend. And maybe my Madison teammates wouldn't want to hear this, but now I play with a few of the guys that I play with are Machine alums, and I've gotten quite close to some of the Machine players, having played like Kaimana with them this year, and I actually have some regrets and wish I had chosen to play in Chicago instead of Madison, because my sister lives there. The Machine like community seems like at least they exist. Our Madison doesn't even exist anymore as a team. So
does Madison not have an open club team right now?
I think they do, but I just don't know what state it's in, and they're not competitive. They have a UFA team.
Yeah, the Radicals.
The Radicals are quite strong. They're in the playoffs this weekend.
Yeah,
but Chicago is the strong favorite there.
And so while you were in Iowa, it was like Chicago versus Madison. Is it like a similar distance? Is that why they would be comparable for like a travel team?
Yeah, similar distance.
Okay.
Similar. Actually, Chicago might have been a little bit further, and driving into Chicago is a bear. So it was so long ago I can't remember all the factors. One of my good friends at the time, who actually, of course, he lives in Colorado now. I think he was a captain on Madison Club at the time, so it kind of made that decision. Maybe that was a tiebreaker.
A little personal
Instead of my
contact.
sister, yeah, instead of my sister who lived in. I could have just stayed with my sister, I'm sure. So
Yeah, but teammate's different than roommate, I guess, to some end, as far as your decisions, where to play, especially if you're gonna go in and out. But I get, yeah, you may have avoided the in and out by just living with your sister. Anyways, no regrets, Mikey. No
yeah, no.
regrets.
Yeah, I'm here where I am, and I all the steps along the way is what got me here.
Exactly. So, yeah, talking about those steps. So you did end up in Denver after your time in Iowa, playing a little bit of Madison ball, playing, coaching a little bit of women's university. Actually, still, right before we get to Denver, tell me about like your role on a team, and was it the same in these years? Chad Larson playing mixed as it became when you moved to Denver and played open. Like what kind of player are you? I only know you as a coach and a pod practicer.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I like go up in divisions and stay in shape, I become one of the better athletes. So traditionally, though, historically, I've been mostly a handler. I throws are definitely my strong suit. I don't feel boastful in saying that I'm a very skilled thrower. Uh, and then as I've gotten older and been a little bit more versatile, I definitely go downfield a lot more, especially now that I'm in the Grandmasters division. It's pretty rare that I'm not going to score at least one deep goal a game. And then I've definitely gone back and forth between defense and offense. I started as an offensive handler, and I was just a gunslinger. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the value of possession, for sure, and that's something I've learned a ton, especially becoming a coach and moving to Colorado, where I like some of my mentors. Bob Cryer is one of my mentors. He's was like Team USA U24 coach for the last, basically since the team existed. Has taught me a ton about the game, and also Jonathan Nethercutt, who I've coached with and I've also coached. Both of them, I would say, have taught me a ton about structure, like how to play Frisbee with freedom, but also within a system that really works. And I think that's something that I always knew, especially I spent a little bit of time in Seattle, which I didn't even mention. I think one of the reasons, for instance, the Iowa women's team became so successful is because I spent a little time in Seattle and took concepts from sockeye and brought it to the women's college game.
And
Anyway,
this time, was that when Lou Burris was coaching there? Or is he still playing there at that stage?
I think Lou had retired by then and was solely focused on coaching Oregon. I don't know if he was living in Corvallis, right, or outside of Corvallis, but he was not there.
Okay.
Like guys like Mike Caldwell.
Yeah.
The infamous I'm forgetting Cultimate guy. I'm forgetting his name now.
Cultimate.
Skip Sewell. He was still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I got to catch up on my sockeye history. I think I definitely have always recognized them, but I think I wouldn't recognize too many names if you spat them at me from that era. But we'll play that game another day. So, so you got the job. What was the job you got in Denver that Bart recommended that ended up being the move maker?
It was at the Brewers Association. I was in the IT department. Well, I don't know what my position was called now anymore. But my background is software. I think at the time I was doing data analytics or maybe business intelligence, if you care to know that much detail. But it, like, at the BA, it was, you kind of wear a bunch of hats. So I was also doing like desktop support, all sorts of like computer setup and IT stuff. As my career has progressed, I've dropped that and just solely focused on data engineering is probably the best title for it.
Nice. I wouldn't know where to begin with a follow-up question about data engineering, but it sounds stable and very difficult, detail-oriented, I would imagine, what you're into.
Well, I will say, I eventually started managing teams, and the crossover between team sports, like with Ultimate and my career, has been huge. Like it's been a skill that like my bosses have really appreciated. And I love team building and culture building and empowering people to make mistakes and learn and mentor. I love that stuff so much. And I think team sports is like the best way to really learn those things. And so I've been really happy to be able to take that to the workplace.
Nice. You brought that to I thought for a second you were saying that's something you got from your job, but no, your bosses were happy with you for having the culture building of everything you took from Ultimate. I've found the same. Like every job I've done, I was like, I'm pretty good at this because I've done it for you. Like I was a teacher for years, and I was like, and even having an entrepreneurial business, I really thought like getting my team on the right page and this and that, and expectation management and defining roles, and it's all very practical stuff in so many realms of life, I think, and work. But but you said the Brewers Associate, or what was it? Like, is it like an actual like beer making brewery that was behind all this data management, data engineering rather?
So yeah, I left in 2019. It's funny, like if you listen to old broadcasts with when Ryan and Bart were still in their, well, I guess towards the end of their primes, you'll hear like Brian Jones say, the American Brewers Association. It's not it's just the Brewers Association. It's a trade association, and if I remember the mission statement correctly, it's a not-for-profit that supports small and independent craft breweries and beer enthusiasts, basically. So our job, what our focus was, is just providing resources to craft breweries, and also home brewers. And it was a super fun job at the time. I feel like it was second college almost, because of the culture around the BA. Like people knew how to work hard and play hard, so to speak. Usually not getting in trouble, but maybe sometimes.
Yeah, working with alcohol will have some potential for trouble as a side effect.
Yeah. And now Bart is the president and CEO of the Brewers Association. So he's more famous in beer than he is in Frisbee now.
Oh, really?
Which is to me is
pretty famous. I mean, I definitely know. I remember in 2012 watching Bart, and I thought he was the best player on that U.S. team that
had Bo
squeaked by. Yeah, that had Cassidy Rasmus had basically all of that revolver core.
Yeah. I think Robbie was still on the team. Kurt played on that team.
Yeah,
at Worlds.
Yeah, there was very good team. They just squeaked past the Australians, but then kind of cruised after they had the scare. But he was an awesome part of that.
And that was before the U.S. had tryouts for Team USA. So that was just Revolver plus Kurt Gibson in 2012.
Right. So that's why. Because I thought they added for that tournament because they lost to Canada in 2008. They won before. The Canadians won that Worlds. And then I thought that this was the first kind of super team, but maybe it was one last hit at it.
2016 was the first one where we had tryouts for that team as the USA.
The first dream team, so to speak, of the Frisbee world.
And Ryan was he was on the 2016 team.
So Ryan, last name, who's Ryan?
Ryan Farrell. He was like a Willem and Mary player. He was like a captain of Bravo for 7 years or something, and was a big part of the 2014 championship.
Nice.
One of the best defenders of all time, by the way.
One of the best defenders of all time.
For sure.
I remember Sam Canner being a really good defender on that team as well. But best of all time, Ryan Farrow. I gotta go give him a ultimate reference and maybe Google YouTube search.
For sure.
So you end up in Denver. You're working as a data engineer for the Brewers Association, and when you just show up to Bravo trials in your first year, how's your ultimate integration go in Colorado?
Yeah. I mean, I basically retired from competitive when I got to Colorado. I was out of shape, and in 2014, I think that was this first club season would have been 2014, and that was a year the team was way too stacked to make it as a 30 plus out of shape guy. But I did practice with Bravo for maybe two seasons. And then I eventually played mixed with Love Tractor.
Great name.
I played a couple seasons with Inception, who was the second men's team at the time out of Colorado, before just moving into Masters with Johnny Encore when I finally aged up a couple years later. From there it was mostly coaching though. I basically right after I moved, I joined the Mama Bird staff, which was my primary focus. Basically,
who was the coaching team when you first started there?
So Jim Shetler had just stepped down. Brent Zionic, his name is we call him BZ, was left over from the 2014 team that did win actually nationals, and then so I joined that staff after Jim left. And then for a few years it was sort of just me and who I could bring in, some alumni like Gabe Stump. I'll mention his name because he was an alum. My good buddy Pete Gleason. Probably not names that are super familiar, but eventually we were kind of up and down. After 2016, we had a really strong nationals in 2016, until we ran to Minnesota, who ended up winning, with Ben Yacht and Ryan Osgar. They had some other good players for sure as well, but we could not stop Ben Yacht on their way to a title run. And then it was kind of a rocky road until 2019 when we brought Bob Cryer back, because Bob had been part of the staff like years with Cat Wilson. Shoot, I don't want to get Cat's last name wrong. I want to say Cat Wilson. I feel bad for not remembering that exactly. Cat was a huge part of the early years of Mama Bird's dominance in the early to mid 2000s, and Bob was part of his staff. Bob also coached Bravo afterwards and was on their championship team as the head coach. And then bringing him back in 2019 was huge for me and huge for the program to like kind of have a little bit of a resurgence. The way that Bob teaches things and structures of practice is stuff that I use every single day. And how I attack problems even outside of Frisbee, and culture building. So we actually, Mama Bird did not make nationals in 2018, which was the first time in 20 seasons we had like the longest active streak until then. And then 2019, when he came back, we made semifinals. So it was a huge,
right back.
Yeah, huge boon to have him back, and it was so good to have him back. And the next year we had this amazing class come in, but we hit COVID. And so Bob's involvement with Mama Bird started to get a little trickier because of COVID and other things. But eventually Nut came in, and he's also been just such an amazing presence for the program.
And since then, have you been part of the staff at any capacity, or have you been kind of support staff, or are you in and out as a assistant coach, or yeah, how does your integration go since 2019 with Mama Bird?
Let's see. So 2021. Let me think about this. We actually because COVID happened, we decided to play the club series basically as Mama Bird, and we called that team Lotus. And that was like when Kins was still in school. Quinn was in school but had been playing for Bravo. So Quinn decided not to play with us. He was still in school. He decided to play with Bravo, which was the right decision for him for sure. But since we had such a strong young core that came in 2020, we were able to compete at a high level. Plus, like, Pro Champs was in Colorado that year. There was Colorado Cup, which was probably, I think, PEC that year. We got to play all the top teams, and then by regionals, we upset Double Wide to earn a nationals berth, which was huge. This
is Lotus.
Yeah,
crazy. Okay.
So it was my first experience. I got to play with a lot of the guys that I coached, and it was a ton of fun. And all of us had, like, I would say, a special bond just from that experience. And then the next year we combined with Bravo, and that's when I became a Bravo coach. And I was still with Mama Bird at the time, as well. I can't remember when Nut officially started coaching, because it may not have been until 2023, but he was sort of like around. He helped us with Lotus as well. Like, he played with us at a tournament that was local in Colorado. He ended up playing with Ring of Fire for the series, which was also the right decision for him because they won that year.
Right.
But, like, I learned, like I said, a ton from him. We basically started running all the stuff that he was teaching offensively, and took that to Mama Bird, took that to Bravo, and Summit, who had 2022 was the first year that Summit was a team in the UFA, which, by the way, there's like another story about Summit because we have to change our name now.
Yeah, I want to hear that. That's yeah. I saw the Ian Toner Instagram post today.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? They better be getting something out of that. But anyways, we'll get to that in a short second.
Sure. So let's see, 2022. Yeah. Mama Bird actually we were like kind of a heavy favorite going into like there was a special COVID nationals in the fall of 2021. It was like us in North Carolina were supposed to meet in finals, but we got upset in pool play by Georgia and had to face North Carolina in quarters. And there's like this crazy highlight of Liam Searles Bowes getting this massive layout Callahan against us. So long story short, we did not win that game. And that was sort of like the beginning of Nut's involvement, like post that loss, as like more of a permanent coach. But we were riding that wave of a lot of the things that he brought to Colorado from North Carolina, and took that to the Bravo season in 2022. We had a bit of a rocky season, did really well in the regular season tournaments, but we went 1-2 in pool play at nationals.
And then
kind of found that lightning in a bottle and found our stride and cruised through the bracket and ended up winning Bravo's second championship in 2022.
What year was the first one? Like 2014 or
2014? Yep.
Right.
So we had one player, Denny Beaches, who was on both teams.
Oh,
We call him two-time.
Logical. Amazing. And so in 2022, you were coaching Bravo, just you as the coach, or Nut was still partially coaching, or who was the bench unit?
So, sorry, I tend to jump around a lot.
That's okay, but it's easy to do. We're talking about, a lot of moving parts here.
So the Bravo coaching staff was Joe Durst, myself, and Tim Kafalas, TK. And Joe, it's like a flat structure, but we kind of consider like Joe as top of the pyramid. Like he leads our huddles and is kind of like the culture centerpiece. I was in charge of offense, and TK was in charge of defense. And TK is actually very well known. I think he's becoming more and more well known in Europe, because a lot of European teams are now starting to run the defense that we've been running in Colorado, which he calls AP, or all person.
All person, right? Yeah, it is getting very popular. Everybody's, I know, Moon are definitely all in on that, but it does seem like it's almost at a fad level of trying to learn it and implement it for obvious reasons. Like it's proven its efficiency, but it does seem like everybody wants to be able to boast that they can show some AP in their game now.
It does. It's not quite the same without TK or without understanding exactly what we're trying to do, but
must be pretty cool. Like when you went over to Brussels, like when you came to Europe, and we will talk about that as we move along. I'm not going to forget about the naming origins, because I want two stories on this. But going to Brussels, like you kind of showed up for your Tokai Super Team duties, PA, another coach, and that's kind of exactly what they were doing the week you arrived. Tell us a little bit about that, hitting the ground in Brussels.
I had an amazing time there. Brussels is an awesome city. PA was nice enough to just invite me to a Mooncatchers practice. And throughout the day before the practice, we were messaging, and eventually he was like, "Do you want to just run the practice?" And he told me what they were working on, and it was like some AP core concepts, and I was like, "Yeah, I love this stuff." And it was honestly, it was a maybe even better way to meet the team, because I actually felt like I had a purpose of being there instead of just standing around or maybe getting a few touches. It was really interesting to see how they interpreted things, how they ingested it. I think one of the struggles of AP, it's just, the core of it is it is like a forced middle, so people understand that, but there are like a few components that make it difficult. Like we have a dynamic mark, which means like the mark could switch more than once while the same thrower has it. Usually it might change once. We might flip it once. We have very specific positioning, especially the way that we guard resets, to push them to certain spaces. And that can be a challenge, because it breaks a lot of natural habits, like where you, after someone throws a disc, like where you then position and push them is it's counterintuitive to like what a lot of people are used to. And then like the final thing I'd say is like downfield is teams in the US are really used to this, where they orbit or reposition defensively to like stop what we call the inside or skinny lane and kind of almost push them to the force side. At least at moon practice, that was one thing that was really difficult for people to just conceptualize, because you're just like, you're trying to take a different space away. You're trying to take a different threat away. At least as a primary piece of the defense. And then once we were like, I think during drills, they kind of understood it, but it would take a lot more reps to really grasp why. And also like the way that we like to practice, which again, like I'll credit to Bob. Basically we talk about things start highly structured with low resistance and then move to a low structure with high resistance, meaning like do something really simple and repeatable to build a mental model. And once you get that, like put it in a more chaotic environment and like try to still be able to identify those situations. So it takes time to build the scaffolding, and we tried to do it all in 20 minutes,
Right.
So like one thing we also talk about is each individual at practice is should consider themselves as an assistant coach. So there are times when it's okay to sort of break the drill and just win. But there are also times when we need to like show each player and each teammate what success looks like. So for instance, like one thing that we're really known for are handler rolls, especially when the reset cuts behind the thrower. We call it a Pepe's cut. Most people call it something else, like a dish, or I think the moon guys called it a dish. We're very known for pushing them behind and doing that, but like at moon practice, the offensive players are like, let's try to beat it. Like let's get this pass off really quickly. Let's move it even faster. Let's give go really quickly. And all that stuff is really good, and especially in a vacuum, or if you're just straight up trying to win. But again, going back to Bob, it's not necessarily something that's great for teaching, because you have to build that component. Like the defenders need to know what it feels like to have a successful switch.
Yeah, less opportunity for them to kind of collectively gauge the concept, especially in early stages, or in your case, clinic stages, where it's like one time hearing from a different voice and that kind of stuff. Winning the drill. And I think winning the drill mentality is, a little bit easier to explain to some veteran players, but a tough one for young players that are kind of just win every single aspect of the game or the training. So that all makes perfect sense. And have you got to watch any moon catchers since you've been there? Not quite yet.
No, I did watch the Belgian finals against Gentle.
Yeah.
I didn't pay that close enough attention to how they're executing to have any critiques.
It was a pretty good game, though. I thought it was. I love that derby between those two. They kind of hate each other and love each other all at once, and good old fashioned fun. It's funny having a national championship where the same two teams are, same as the French. It's Chakin is now every single year. Chevy and Clapham every year in UK. It's things that don't happen in the US. That.
These are all new things to me. To me it's more equivalent to like what we would have for regionals. Like it's us and Double Wide are always 99% of the time we're in finals of the South Central regionals,
right?
Or Mama Bird in Texas.
Okay, so let's get into the names here. I want to hear about some, but actually first I want to know about Johnny Bravo. I think you told me this story, but I want you to tell me and tell the people again. But for me, I was certain that Johnny Bravo was named after the cartoon character Johnny Bravo,
Yeah.
which made perfect sense. And I was like, but he's never been on a logo. There's never been like any association. And I loved Johnny Bravo, the big, Elvis kind of blonde-haired Elvis hair with the sunnies, and just a Johnny Cool kind of character, but not at all the case. Where did Johnny Bravo come from?
Yeah, and the cartoon character is probably a little problematic in 2025, but and funny enough, Quinn and Maddie Jackson, they're our Jersey guys this year. I think we have on a reversible. It's the cartoon character with circled with like the not Johnny Bravo.
Okay. He's on a 2025 jersey. We're gonna see
it's like a penny that they might. I don't know. Maybe 5 guys bought them. I doubt many people bought one. So it's a Brady Bunch reference. And I think I've maybe YouTubed this once. And I don't know which character from the Brady Bunch it is, but I think he's in some band, and his like alter ego for the band is Johnny Bravo, and that's kind of the extent of my knowledge.
Brady Bunch band alter ego.
Here's I do know Wes. So Wes Williams is one of the founders of the team. He's still around, and his son is playing, I think, youth, and I'm sure Bob knows the more detailed story as well.
But that's good. It's a Brady Bunch alias band member reference. And so, what's going on with the summit then now? Where does so the word on the Instagram street is a women's professional soccer team wanted the name Summit, and did they contact the Colorado Summit? How'd this go?
So there's an NDA, so I don't know exactly how much I'm able to talk about, but since it's public, I know I can at least say they had a survey to name the team, and one of the options was Summit. We didn't think it would win. I don't think we thought it would win. It did win though. And I think we were maybe in the process of trademarking it or something, or I don't know if we reached out to them first or the opposite, but obviously we already existed since 2022. And I don't know if I can disclose the amount, but there was like some negotiations about, well, we would like to purchase the name from you and like potentially give you some other benefits. I think like marketing related. And then I think we did counter offer, like, how about you give us this much? And they're like, well, we'll just go with the second choice if you want in that case. And
okay,
so
we'll go back to our yes response then, and you guys can be the Summit.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll take the money. Okay, so that's fun. And now the Summit, or the Colorado UFA team, will be doing a fan participation, help us name our team kind of campaign.
Yeah. Yep.
You got any hot prospects you want?
No, I don't. But my friend and his wife, so actually Ryan and his wife C, suggested the Denver Mint, because we have one of 2 mints in the U.S. is located in Denver. And let me look at this text chain. They're like, there's all these
reasoning and justification for being the Denver Mint. I mean, it leans to wearing mint jerseys as well, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, actually, I love it's kind of, there's a little bit of mint in our.
Yeah, for sure.
So C mentioned endless cheers and endless merch opportunities, like printing money, dropping dimes, getting Benjamins. Also, double entendre of it being new and fresh, and the color, and how some kids of a certain age, mint means very cool. But
yeah, mint, bro.
I mean,
that's I think that's like an old school era. I don't know if it's a new as well. But I definitely used to say mint when something was awesome when I was a
I don't know if
teeny
I ever used
bopper.
that one.
Oh, really? I definitely a mint man as a kid for sure. Okay, cool. So yeah, all you voters out there, make sure you're voting for mint or
I
something.
would
Is
get. I honestly, I would
We're gonna
guess that
end up
we'll.
being
We'll.
the mountain goats or something like that, like
Well, I
some
bet we'll stay in some sort of mountain themed, but
yeah,
I'm not sure.
Colorado Peak or Colorado, yeah,
Hmm.
Colorado Sherpas. I guess that's not the mountain theme that goes down in Colorado, but I've never been. Not yet. Coming soon, Mikey. Coming soon.
In a few short days,
Yes, a few short days from now, it'll be. By the time this is out, I'll probably already be there.
you'll be
Uh,
sleeping like 50 feet that way.
you'll be hearing my snoring roaring through the walls. Uh, awesome. So, are playing days? Your playing days have been done, except great grandmasters now, or grandmasters or masters, grandmasters. You're not playing any more open, except in emergency situations.
Yeah, emergency situations. I did fly straight from Spain to Pro Elite Challenge in Ohio to play with Bravo because Summit had a conflicting road trip, or Colorado team to be named had a conflicting road trip. So on we had like 14 guys. By the end of Saturday we had 9 guys running. I was one of them. By the end of Sunday we
Damn.
had 11 guys running. And I also played. I did actually. So I've played in a Bravo tournament, basically Savage, and I played in a UFA game because we were short numbered.
You,
Like 2 weeks
said
ago,
you were out
maybe.
of shape when you were kind of out of shape when you first moved to Denver. Like you're now as a grandmaster. Like you got to be in better shape than you were at that stage of your days because now you seem to be very fitness focused and yeah, you seem like you're in excellent shape now.
Yeah, I know. I honestly, I wish I had trained the way I do now in my 20s and early 30s. Because I think I could have extended my career a lot longer. But yeah, like, fitness is a huge part of my life. I have a home gym with everything you need. I think this is today will be the 211th or 12th day in a row that I've worked out or done some sort of active recovery. So like I'm kind of obsessed, I would say, at this point.
It's awesome. It's a good obsession.
Yeah, and that's honestly another reason why I left the BA is because I couldn't like being around alcohol as my profession was just not great for my health.
Yeah, I hear you. As an ex bar owner,
Yeah,
I
you
know
know.
how, I know what that does. Uh, all right, so let's talk about the pod practice. How did the pod practice pop up and become? Because it's taken on a bit of a life of its own. I think you guys must be happy with it. I feel like it's got to be the go-to podcast, certainly for American ultimate enthusiasts, and I would say for global. You guys, your audience seems to keep growing. But how did this all start?
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I don't know how I really never know how well received or popular we are, but people do say nice things, so I appreciate that. Um I mean, basically after we won and had a little bit of credibility, I suppose. Um and by the way, the way Kins tells the story is a little bit different than me. Um but it's like I've always loved podcasts. Um and then early or late 2022 after we won nationals, I dropped something off at his house, and then we stood in his garage and just talked for 3 hours about like how crazy it was and like how lucky you have to be, the culture pieces, uh like just the team building and what it was like and the feelings around it. Um, and I think for me also feeling like I had a lot to impart from what I've learned from Bob and what I learned from Nut. And by the way, many other people, I just like to credit them the most. um, I wanted to share that with people, and after we were standing in his garage and having had this conversation for 3+ hours, we were both like, I wish we had recorded that, just to like even remember. And then I think he had some ideas of having a podcast for Summit, which was he wanted to call High Ones. Have you heard this story?
No.
So you know what Hot Ones is?
Yeah, the wings, the hot wings. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in Summit's inception, we were sponsored by a few different marijuana companies, and his idea was like he would get progressively higher throughout a podcast while asking, I don't know, who knows what the topic would be. If it's Kim's based, it'd be all over the place.
That'd be awesome. I mean,
we could do an episode like that. We're about to approach episode 100, actually. So,
oh God, there's gonna be something special.
Yeah. So he had that idea. I was like, I could help, and then we kind of were just like, let's just try to record one and see how it goes. And the first one, like, we shared a microphone. You couldn't hear half of the audio, and it was I'm sure terrible. And but I also, having followed some YouTubers like Marquez, shout out MKBHD, Frisbee player, Team USA player.
Yeah.
Like what they always say is just record and try it and get better. And that's also like how I think about Frisbee and sports and professional life, is just, it's okay to fail. It's okay if it sucks. It's okay if people say shit about you. Like,
it's just not okay to not do it.
Yeah. So like, let's give it a shot. We know we enjoy talking about this stuff. I always say, like, this is a construct for us to hang out. So we get to hang out, talk about Frisbee. Eventually we started bringing guests on.
So does that qualify as episode 1? That one where you two sharing a mic? That was Pod Practice episode 1.
We might have called it episode 0, actually. So I wonder if we have technically recorded 99. We have 2 unreleased episodes
that are
as of right
coming.
Now.
Okay. Yeah. Is Ine one of them?
She is, yeah.
Okay, well, you gave it away on your. I watch you. You gave it away reading your text when it was incoming from Ine on the Don Demarais episode. I think.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay, that's exciting. I mean, she's awesome, and we'll leave her story for her podcast with you. But an absolute legend. Okay, so that's how it all got going, and then did it was there like a catching fire? Was there that lightning in a bottle factor? Was there like a specific guest, or is it kind of been progressively just kept going, stayed going, and eventually you looked up and you were here?
Yeah, I think more of the latter for sure, because all of us just want to do it if it's fun, and I rarely look at the analytics. I don't even know how to, as a data engineer, you'd think I'd be better at it, but I'm not. Quinn was one of our first guests. He may have been our first guest. I can't remember now. And afterwards, he texted us and was like, that was so much fun. Like, I would do that every day. And so we were like, do you want to just do it with us? So he's been, with us since the beginning. I mean, early on we had Joe White on. I'm sure that helps. Like some of like the higher profile.
That was the first time I saw it, was the Joe White episode.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, for sure.
If I look back, I imagine it's still one of our highest performers, given that it's Joe plus extra time.
Yeah, but now you got better production, better, it's a tidier ship. So I'd imagine your new ones will get more guests exponentially, but you never know. Like sometimes, as the YouTubers say, like a lot of people will go all the way back just to kind of see where it came from. Never mind who the content was or what it was, just to like, how did this all begin? And people would go back to kind of see the early days of
I've definitely watched Marquez's first YouTube video.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we have no aspirations to, well, I wouldn't say no aspirations. We have no, we're not disillusioned, I'd say, in where the Frisbee audience can really go, but it's a ton of fun. You know, like we do see like kind of peaks and valleys. It's a little inconsistent throughout the year. We have busy lives too. Usually around U.S. club nationals, we see a spike because that's
everybody wants their info.
Yeah, and that's like what we primarily compete in, that and the UFA. So, we usually get a spike around then.
Yeah. So let's talk your logo. What is that again? You get a couple logos.
This is the primary one.
Yeah, what the hell is that thing? You've told me. I forget, to be honest.
It's supposed to look stupid. So, yeah, when we started the podcast, Rowan and Johnny, they still had one go on. I think it was called One Throw Pod or something like that. And Rowan was actually probably, he helped us as well because we had him on maybe episode 11 or something like that. It was ringing a bell. We joked with him that like they were the kind of the polished one, and we were kind of the rough around the edges, just winging it and a little bit messy, kind of like our logo. It looks like a kid drew it, and that's kind of what I like about it. But it is AI generated. I typed in like into ChatGPT pink spaceship with double-headed bird. And it's an homage to both Mama Bird and Johnny Bravo. So it's supposed to kind of look like a rocket, like the Johnny Bravo rocket. And then, if I had a better
Mama Bird.
Yeah,
we'll pop a logo. We'll pop a logo up while we're looking at it.
I'll send it to you.
Yes, sweet, and we'll get that up. But okay, so that is a AI generated mashup.
I guess it's up there too, but my camera's fixed. So
that's so good. You got that? You got a neon light done out of it?
Yeah. It honestly, it doesn't work anymore. I need to have Amy check out the light bender. Amy Leader. She made that for me.
We need a light bender support staff over there. And then what is the other logo? Is like a little, like I got a sticker. Oh, it's not on my water bottle in this room, but like a little like alien looking thing. What the hell is going on with that?
Yeah, so here's the standard one.
Yeah,
kind of out of focus.
What is that?
Have you ever heard of an axolotl?
No. What's an axolotl?
They're like little I think they're in the salamander family or species.
It's a real species. It's not like
I know. When I first saw one, I was like, "That's a real life alien."
Hang on. So it's got like horns on its head.
I don't know what they're not horns. They're like little, I don't know, little tails on their head. I don't even know what to call them.
Frill or something, like the back of a stegosaurus. Okay, maybe.
It's like they're like little dreadlocks. Maybe I don't know. They're more like tentacles or like
headphones.
Yeah.
Those are not part of the actual animal.
No. Well, not that I know.
Say the name of that again. Axolotl.
Axolotl. I think it's AXOLT. Oh, I've already lost track.
How did that become a mascot?
So, Ulti World had us do a remote stream or commentary. I think of Smoky Mountain Invite 2024 maybe. They especially wanted us to do it because Mama Bird was playing. So we knew I think we did like a Mama Bird North Carolina game or something like that. And during halftime, one of our local super fans, his name's Caleb. I think Caleb is 12 now. he follows us everywhere. He follows Malmberg, he follows Bravo, he follows Summit. One of our players, Danny Landisman, it's his little cousin is Caleb. And Danny, by the way, kind of comes from Frisbee royalty. His dad is Jeff Landisman, who's an LA legend. But anyway, Caleb FaceTimed us with his little sister, Maddie. And they were like, "Is this you on the broadcast?" And so we were talking for a while. We were FaceTiming, and then he went around his house to just show us around, and then eventually show his little pet axolotl, which he called, I think, Freckles. And when he showed it to me, I was honestly freaked out because I was like, "What the fuck is this thing?"
Wow. And the 12-year-old was had it as a bit. Was he holding it, or like were you looking through the?
It was aquarium? Like in a little aquarium, yeah,
like terrarium, whatever. I don't know if it's wet.
I think aquarium is fair. It's amphibious.
Okay.
And it's pink. It's pink, and you know, Caleb is, you know, I appreciate him a lot.
Nice.
So
big shout out, Caleb.
Yeah, big shout out, Caleb. I'll send you a picture of me and Caleb from Logroño. Actually, he's such a huge fan of Frisbee.
He was in Logroño.
His mom will bring him or his sister Maddie on like one big trip a year, like for their birthdays or something. And he chose to go to U24 Worlds.
So good.
He big fan of Zeke, big fan of Toby.
Of course.
Malmberg guys.
They were awesome in Logroño, so Caleb would have been pretty stoked on life there.
For sure. He had a blast.
Sweet. Well, I know you had a blast too. We could talk all day about everything, but let's move into your recent movements. That's kind of how I got to know you, which I'm super stoked on. You guys invited me on the show, and then I got to kind of return the favor and get you guys all part of a super team. And you know, by my perspective, it was awesome, and we all had a good time. But I've told my perspective a bunch now. But and I know you guys have on pod practice talked about it. But yeah, take us through some of your highs and lows. I think it's more highs, but once you got through Brussels, you arrived in London, and talk a little bit about the super team experience, the Tokai super team experience.
Tokai super team. All highs, to be honest. It was an amazing experience. Thank you so much for inviting us again.
It seemed just so logical, and I'm very happy that it happened.
I don't really know where to begin. Obviously we had a huge motivation, the three of us, Kins, Quinn, and I, to compete against Team USA. As you know, I feel like both of them are very capable of playing on that team, so I wanted to give them a chance and see them have a chance to showcase that. Obviously Kins didn't get to because of his knee, but that was the main driving force, other than just like it being a super cool opportunity and going to Europe. Where do I start? There's so many amazing players.
Why don't let's go like game by game here. Let's start with that. Let's talk about like in-game kind of life. We played Canada first. We went down a whole bunch, but you get any memories from that game? Ebbs and flows, or things that stood out?
Yeah, we were down 7-4, I think, in that game. Or like the early games, what comes to mind for me, like the immediate thought is Quinn's game, because I've coached him since he was 18 or 17, I don't know. And I didn't think he played that well. Like I think he had trouble. He had trouble like integrating into like this group of players that had many different styles, and he has like played in one system that has evolved, the last decade. what else comes to mind?
Yeah, I remember you saying that actually, like Quinn. I feel like Quinn's struggling, like in the system a little bit, and when he's getting chances to make plays that he normally makes, he's missed on a couple big ones.
Yeah,
And
he
I
had a
do
couple
think that
drops.
was I mean, a couple drops on like like big layouts. Like there was like huge extensions, and it was like, Quinn's gonna get that, and he didn't
Yeah,
come
like
down with it.
50-50 stuff that like I just trust him to come to make the play.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. He was missing. What else? What else you got in the early? It doesn't have to be game by game, but just your takes on.
In hindsight, actually feel like the warm up games hurt us a little bit. They helped us in terms of reps, but like I think we had like a plan of O and D structures and certain lines and like getting specific groups to play together. And we also had a mission to make sure that everybody got to play with everybody, because I think that's a huge draw to play on a team like that.
Mm.
To get to do that. But I also think by Saturday going into the actual tournament, we did not have a good sense of what groupings should play together. And like, since we had success against Canada and then Deep Space
Destroyed them.
wasn't really a competitive game, I think we were like, okay, these players are just all stars, and we can just put them out in any situation, and they will just figure it out. Which honestly may have been more the case of the previous year's team.
Yeah.
And I imagine Joe and Jimmy probably helped quite a bit with that, just knowing them as people. So anyway, yeah, going into Saturday, I think when we had early struggles against the U24 Canadian team,
They were like, we were playing from behind, weren't we? Until like 7-6, I think we took over.
Something like that.
We were playing down, upwind, downwind, and they were good. You got to give it to them. They made the final at under 24s the week later, but
yeah.
But boy, I was commentating that. I was like, I'll commentate this when I don't need to be on the sideline. We'll kind of take care of business. And I was sweating in the booths in the first half.
Yeah, I would say I was a little nervous at the beginning of the game, just to see how things would pan out. But like once we were able to figure out the matchups, it became much easier. And I think the pressure of that game, I don't know if pressure is the right word, but like once we got a few, like one or two breaks against them, they started pressing quite a bit, which makes sense given that they're young. And shout out our boy Ryan Shigley for being their main O-line cog.
Yeah, he was
Mama
good.
Bird captain.
Shigley was good. The Nishizaki, I think, the Japanese name on that team, he was really good in that game.
Is he the number 22? He was like their D-line handler, was he?
Yeah, and
he was ripping upwind against us.
Yeah, if there's one more name that I'm not going to say wrong, so I'll wait to see if it comes to me. But they were good. It took us till halftime to work it out. Got a couple breaks, and then, as you said, they kind of caved a little bit, felt the pressure, and we got it going, but only just enough. Like the wind was treacherous. We were still playing with lines. From the day before, trying to get everybody in, and we said that this first game would kind of be the last game potentially that we play with lines, but we still hadn't had it figured. I don't think it was really figured out by the time that game finished.
Yeah, and honestly, I've learned a ton more even since that game. Like, I didn't realize that Aurora was like she's main O-line handler for Groot. I didn't know that.
But the year before, she was not.
I mean, she's an amazing defender, and I do think she fit a primary defensive role very well for Super Team.
Yeah.
For Tokai Super Team.
Yes. But yeah. I mean, yesterday and this season, she's been taking O-line responsibilities, and she's a thrower. Like, she's a hell of a thrower. So yeah, could have used her differently, perhaps. Okay, so after the Canada game, we go Germany, and this is basically where we put ourselves out of the tournament
Yeah.
to be able to win it. I was still pissed at the start because Clapham extended their game on a nonsensical, oh, we need it for EUCF qualifying, so we have to play to 12. And I was like, what? Like, your last point was already overtime. And then they ended up, like, I was like, no, like, I was standing in the middle of the field with my arms crossed as soon as they got off late. And then they all came back on. We're like, we're playing another point. We have to get 12. And I was like, bullshit, you do not have to get 12. And they were like insisting, and I was like yelling with Nathan Ragg. I was like, he's like, oh, what are you gonna do about it? I was like, what do you mean, what are you gonna do about it? I'll kick your ass in jest kind of thing. But and then I was like, PA, what the hell's going on? He's like, no, I'm part of the board. You don't have to play to 12. It just counts for less points. Anyways, they played another point. And so our already short game was like 9 minutes delayed or 8 minutes delayed or something. We had a really shitty warm up.
Yeah.
But
there was some dancing involved, I think.
Yeah, the dancing was fun, but we didn't have space. We had zero space, so we had to like run like a little drill in an alleyway kind of thing.
That was a tough adjustment for me, I would say. We have limited warm up space in the US, but it's usually more than that, and then we usually at least have a little bit of time on the big field.
Yeah, we had none of that. And meanwhile, Germany was like warming up next to us and took like a pretty big chunk of the neutral space to run a pretty good drill. But we did break first against Germany.
That sounds right.
And then they broke like
a bunch,
2 or 3 and like 4 points. Not all in a row. It wasn't like a total run against us, but it was like they'd get 2, we'd get 1, they'd get 2 again, we'd get 1, and then all of a sudden they were up by like 4.
3 or 4. Yeah. Yeah. What I remember about that game is they played poachy defense. Like Levka was Levka and did a lot of crazy things in a good way for them.
Yeah,
I think we really struggle against their poachiness, especially in the wind. And there are also things now that I know now that I didn't know then. Like I think of like Christina, for instance, can handle, but I think of her more as like maybe a downfield person that can go very well. Mm-hmm. And I think we had her back in the backfield with Ben a lot for offense, and then conversely on the D line, like Buja, who is also a small space player. I kind of feel like both of those things played into the style of Germany's defense and allowing them to contain us, plus the wind. Like we were running a lot. We were trying to complete a lot of passes in a really small space that did not change the shape of their defense at all. And yeah, I don't know. They played well. They played really good team defense.
I think that's the other thing. We had our struggles. We're still trying to work some stuff out, but they were sharp and they were way more ready for that game than we were. From the warm up to their rolling their plan out to just everything. They were sharp. They didn't make many mistakes. They didn't give us many second chances when we had turnovers. They were very decisive on making us pay for our mistakes. And I remember in the end, we were like, you get to that urgency state in a tournament like this. It's like, we got to score quick. And then that's never a good thing to say on the line. I still remember we shouldn't be saying that. And, sure enough, we took a shot quick and they scored and made it worse. Made it worse. That deficit went bigger. And by the end, it was 4 or 3. I think it was 4. It was 15-11.
I don't think we got to 15. It was maybe we were down maybe like
it was low
11-8, and then Ben dropped like the centering pass from Christina, and then they broke again for 12-8 or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that sounds right.
Fairly big deficit. So
that was the big kick in the nuts. I think everybody was like dumbfounded for a little while right after the game. Like, what, are we out? We got to beat the U.S. by 4 now. But it kind of took the pressure off for that game against the U.S. Maybe. I don't know.
I think we learned more about. Like I learned that Martina had a really good touch downwind on like deep shots, and that's like throughout the tournament, throughout the weekend, people were just overshooting downwind deep shots. Like you'd think that would be the easier one to complete, but it oftentimes is not.
So yeah. So then we get to our big game. I guess this is what we hyped the whole tournament around, practically the whole campaign around beating the US. Take us through your thoughts on that one. After a loss, after potentially almost certainly taking ourselves out of contention. Take us through the US game for some of your memories.
So PA, Ine, and I had a really good meeting with the captains and then by ourselves to kind of figure out what strategies we wanted. We did run a lot of AP that game, by the way. I guess if you're playing against the US World Games, maybe take a look at that game. No, I mean go US though. I'm rooting for the US.
Of course you are.
We figured out the personnel packages that we wanted. Like we definitely shortened the offensive unit and brought Manu back to the handler set with Ben, and that proved to be a huge piece against the US because without Kayla playing, without the Claires playing, I think they struggled to match up with Manu. And then Ben and Manu were able to run like the little two person dominator.
They were awesome. I think they were, especially second half of the game, it was the Ben and Manu show almost. There's certainly not that small of a scope. It was not the two of them, but boy did the two of them really take the reins.
Yeah, and then honestly, so we ran a mostly FM defense with flat marks against them, but it was about. I really feel like it was about the players as individuals making huge plays, like Jakob and Tanner having huge games.
Whitlock had a pretty massive game.
Whitlock, yeah, he completely canceled a throw on a hand block. Floor had a hand block.
Oh, Floor and on Universe, that was massive.
Christina did a good job on Anna Thompson, and Anna is arguably the best player on Team USA. I mean, I would probably say Claire Trope is, but Claire was not playing.
Right. Lucky for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy. I mean, going down 4-0 after losing to Germany. I thought
Were we down 4-0?
Yeah, 4-0. We went down 4-0 to the US and won this game.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was kind of like, man, what a failure like this. But I still remember, I was like, this, the super team's a bust. We've, lost to Germany is one thing, but now we're gonna get wiped. But I remember the timeout was taken, and we went into the circle, and everybody was chilling. Having fun, vibes were high. I forget who spoke first. I always remember Angela Zhu in the huddle, just smiling and nodding to anybody who was talking. Yeah. She was like, yeah, and everybody was just so ready to get back out there and go again. It was relieving. I was like, all right, we're maybe not in trouble. Maybe we can kind of come back. Everyone was feeling good about life, being down 4-0 and just having come off a loss. And that is I guess that's why these kind of teams do work, because everybody is mentally strong enough. Everybody's kind of been the captain or the people who give the advice on how to stay cool or how to play 1 point at a time. And they were all just so eager to get back out there, and I think there was one really bad call in those first points. There was a couple careless giveaways in those first 4 points. It's we're down 4-0, but it should be closer than 4-0, even though we're in a shithole right now.
Yeah, but by the way, that sort of buy-in from Angela, the enthusiastic buy-in, I think really matters in any situation, because I think that the leaders feel that and all the teammates feel that. And one thing that I subscribe to is I'm a tactician at heart, a strategist, but my favorite thing to say is you have to solve energy before tactics, um, and finding like that can be difficult. Like that is the lightning in a bottle that's difficult to capture for championship teams or for really any team. And I do remember Ine speaking. I don't know if it was during that timeout or halftime, but
No, that was. I think that maybe was. Yeah, you're right. Okay, go on. I remember this Ine speech now. I think.
there's just something about Ine that is so authentic, and like she has such a maternal presence. Like I want to do this for her because you can tell she cares about you so much.
Mm.
And what I really enjoyed about both PA and Ine is, like English is not their prime. Well, I don't know. It's not their prime either. Their primary language,
No,
right?
no.
And like I love how they can speak broken English. And like I feel like if I did that in the States, for instance, I would lose a lot of credibility. And I do lose a lot of credibility when that happens. But when they do it, it's almost like something you can feed on. Like it's endearing, and it does come off as more genuine, authentic to me, at least, because like you can see that they're really trying to pour their heart into this.
Mm.
And it's like difficult because their English isn't perfect.
Yeah, I remember. This is the speech because I remember Ine at the end was like, "Let's show the world what we're made of," but she got those words in the wrong order, some way or not. But nothing mattered. Everybody like it was like nobody was like about to correct her or anything. It was like everybody's just like, hey, we know exactly what you mean. Everybody went in. We had probably our. One of our loudest roars, very natural breakup and cry, and then we started hitting. The things started working from there on out. Really,
Yeah, yeah. I remember Tanner got this amazing block that I was so proud of because because it was like stuff that we had just like talked about recently, and how I talked about this in one of our episodes, but like there's a specific thing that we do in AP where we force it back to the disc back to where it came from. And he knew that this was going to happen, so he was downfield and just jumped the lane and poached and got a block. And I was so stoked because that was an athletic play and like a really cerebral play. And one of the things that I did not know about Tanner before the weekend is how much of a Frisbee nerd he is. And I really
respect that.
I love that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it is the good stuff. So yeah, I mean, we went up and down. The last 6 points of the game were trades. We got ahead. I mean, we were down before the kids' game, halftime. There were 14 minutes and we were still down one, and we came out and broke twice. And then it was trading till the end, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember exactly.
But
that sounds
in
right.
14 minutes, there was still like 6 or 7 points played in 14 minutes, plus the cap rule. And then 4 turnovers on Universe Point.
Yeah, I think so. And we had, by the way, we
started on D, so it was 3, like whatever, one less or
no,
5.
we started on O on Universe.
Oh yes, that's right. We had
a chance to break. I think we were maybe 20, 25 yards out of the end zone
on the point prior.
Yeah. And I think Connor shorted a blade, like a bladey around lefty forehand.
Yes.
And they were able to hold.
The game.
Yeah, and then Universe was fireworks.
Fireworks. Everything happening. I mean, I remember the floor hand block was not the last turnover because we gave it back to them again. But that was huge. And that was like, okay, we've done it. I was ready to run onto the field at that hand block almost before converting, but we gave it back pretty quickly. I remember the last turnover was just a turf by the U.S. They threw it into
or a drop, maybe.
No, I think it was just a short throw that didn't make it to the receiver. It was either by Anna or Carolyn, if I recall correctly. I got to go back and watch this, but in fact, I want to do like a watch together. So we may have you on for another ULTI.TV episode, and we can watch it back and discuss it in greater detail.
I would love to watch it back. I haven't actually since it happened.
Yeah, I did once and not again since, but I got to get back. I got to watch it again. It was one of the best. I think it's one of the best game this year so far. It was just, it had everything. It was people
the
taking
crowd.
The crowd, people like, incredible collection of talent, and everybody was like just going for the most exciting option every time. It seemed like. No matter how much they kept turning over, they just kept going in. As I've said, like, can you watch this and take examples of how to beat the U.S. from it? I don't know. It's like, could anybody really convince themselves to play as loose as that in a World Games matchup against the U.S.? It would take some serious nerve to try and pull that off in that manner.
I would definitely say that game was more about energy than tactics. In the end, that game could have gone either way.
So we had a great party the night after. Carmen Lagala found a club near where we were staying that was like dead. There was nobody there, but sent out a couple flyers, and Team USA was there. Canada showed up, a bunch of bits and pieces of other team, but we kind of took over a club. It was good old-fashioned fun. And then we were on our way, but you lucked in. I'd say lucked in. I think you were uncertain at first.
Yeah.
But I think now you'd say you lucked into Kristina Toulouse kind of begging you into being the Czech coach.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that now, just getting so immersed into the USA game. Christina asked if I would be willing to help the under 24 mixed Czech team, and at first I was a little apprehensive, but I really was really excited about the idea because I'm an addict. I like helping teams, and it seemed like a fun opportunity, and it ended up being an even better experience than I could have imagined.
They went pretty well. And there was like, you were like the perfect fit again, kind of, right? It was tell us about how the fit kind of worked with AP and the Czechs.
Yeah, and by the way, 2 Czechs will be at my house next week prior to US Open, and while you're here, and
Nice.
some Michael Merrick and Terry will be here. But Merrick was sort of the connection that I didn't realize that I already had to Czech Ultimate, because Merrick had and TK and I've also had a lot of conversations with him over the last couple of years. But he had been planning to try to play in Colorado before he hurt his knee, and had been asking us a ton about AP and how to play it and how to teach it. So he had already been implementing it throughout, I guess, the Czech scene. I would say definitely a different flavor than the way we run it, which was like one of the few challenges that I had with the mixed team. But because I was already instilled, and like they were the perfect mixture of a lot of really good talent with not much, like they don't have access to a lot of resources, and then also add in that they're also really hungry to learn and really eager and welcoming. It just made it super easy. So like the stuff that they had questions about, I happen to be one of the few experts in the world on, so it was a perfect fit. And
match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Because,
their coach Martin was also very, very accommodating and collaborative.
He's a great player and sounds like turned into a great coach as well. Good.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys went deep you lost to Singapore in the quarter.
In quarters, yeah.
And that was a tough game. I know I was giving Christina crap after when she was still in tears. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, it's over. You get another game. Let me cry. Fuck you. Because I think the first time she's ever sworn at me properly.
Did she actually? That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah,
That's funny.
It was a little bit
In a loving way.
It was still a loving way, but it was like, let me cry. I'm pissed off still. But was that was the second loss of the tournament? You lost once in pool play?
We lost. Yeah, we lost to Japan. Gosh, I told you about this. I think prior to the Japan game, the team was in like this moral dilemma of whether or not they should win the Japan game.
Yes.
Because they were trying to avoid playing the U.S. early in the bracket, and as you know, like I was conflicted about it, and I was honestly I was kind of upset that it was even a topic that people were talking about throughout the team, and
but then once you get talking, you gotta see out the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. And that game was really strange. Like Japan, I wouldn't say was the better team, but they were in a much, much better headspace to compete. I would say that, by the way, they're very good, and they did beat us again, I think, on Universe in the 5th place game, which I was absent for. But like throughout the game, a lot of the players were struggling with the mental battle of like, are we trying to win this or not? And like really beating themselves up about every mistake or like every
success even.
Yeah, he's like,
should I have made it that should I have made that play? Son of a.
But we dropped that game, which put us in a power pool with France and France
and Germany.
We played Germany in pool play, so it was France and I'm forgetting who else.
It was Germany who went through with you, but the result also went through. Who went through with France is the question.
Maybe it was New Zealand. No, New Zealand was in her. I don't remember.
Yeah, me either. Anyhow,
I've been in too many Frisbee games since then.
You got Singapore knocked you guys out, and that was it for you.
That was it for
me. You had
to
play one more game after that same day. That was
China.
Okay, who played well, but you guys got that win.
They're like Singapore light. They played a very similar style, like a dominator with mostly males touching the disc, but China was even more skewed towards the male side.
Right.
And then a lot of zone on a turn. It's an impressive style, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I love it. I've said this before. It reminds me a lot of how Brown plays here in the U.S. In the college division, where most of the offense runs through 2 to 4 players. It's a lot of small space cuts that are hard to get blocks on. But if you're not executing precisely, doesn't work. So the fact that Singapore was skilled enough to do that for an entire game in that heat.
Impressive.
Yeah, definitely impressive.
Yeah, I didn't mind watching them. I watched them in the bronze medal game against France. I commentated. I watched. But yeah, their handler trio, if they have a bad game, they're in big trouble. If they have a good game, then they can beat anybody. It's an interesting style, but it really does reduce the team aspect of the win sometimes when you're really every single O point you're relying on the same 3 primaries that are gonna between those 3 they're getting 70-80% of the touches.
Yeah, it's an interesting problem to solve defensively because you would never practice against that. Very rarely. Like the only teams equipped to play defense against them are probably the really strong zone teams or the teams that play offense that way.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that was good fun. Logroño, we got to hang out a whole bunch. What did you think about the city and being in Spain? I know was that your first time in
That was my
Spain, I
first
think?
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a ton of fun. I loved hanging out with you. I feel like we became like brother
Yeah,
buds.
totally. Yeah, I think I was saying that today to Milan. I was like, yeah, I got Mikey for best perspective. I'm going over to his place next week, but I feel like I was talking to Rira today while Milan was out. That's who I was talking to, and I was saying, yeah, I'm going over, but they're all the guys are awesome. But I feel like Mikey and I, especially with the time in Spain after, I feel like I know him inside out now. So it was it's good. A couple nights out, we got hang out and have a beer together. One night when it was pissing rain, we kind of got stuck having a
Yeah.
beer.
We talked
Uh,
about our love lives a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, a little bit with the love lives. We had more than a couple nights on Calle San Juan. Sometimes food focused, sometimes drinks focused, but always, yeah, just good times. Logroño. I mean, I feel like now for the Frisbee world, it's on the map. But I would say I would be happy to go there for like a personal holiday any time of my life. Like it was so awesome.
Yeah, it's a very intimate little town, I would say. I don't know how common it is to have little streets like that in Europe because I haven't traveled enough. But it was a really cool experience, especially hanging around the Ulti World crew.
Yeah, it was
And
good. It was a good crew. It was fun. I think the first day when you came up to the booth with me, I was like, I'm not sure how much sway I've got here with Ultiworld. I don't work with them that much, but come on up, let's go see. But you obviously know most of those people more than me, and they were like, my open arms. Yeah, Mikey, because this is Mikey. Yeah, we know who Mikey is. Kind of sentiment from the Americans that run the show. And then after that, I was like, yeah, okay, we're doing something. Here's where we're at. Come join. And it was just yeah, such a cool town to hang out in. I really thought like I had fun like having a gelato. I had fun walking home from the bus stop. I had fun going to the pool. I had fun having drinks and having meals. And meals for me were the best. It was just the food was so good.
uh, I mean, I loved all of it. I love that. I love that you could just. I love. It's so nice with tapas you can get it quickly
Mm.
and just try
Quick
lots
and
of different
cheap, right?
things.
Like
Yeah,
€5,
it
two
was so
minutes, it's
cheap.
in your mouth, and you're like, do I like it enough that I'll get another one, or do I want to try something different for my next
Exactly.
€3 spend or €2? I mean, we had the one joint. It was €1 per plate. This was the lowest quality of the food I had, but still, €1 per plate was
A glass
ludicrous.
of wine was like €1.50 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it was good. So, what are we gonna do in Denver then? What's I mean, I heard you guys talking about the one
Oh
of the
yeah,
best burger joints. I heard Quinn talking.
yeah, and I
Uh,
forget the name of that place, but we'll definitely go there.
Country Club or something.
Rhino was it
Anyways,
Rhino? Was it Rhino Country Club?
Rhino Country Club. That's exactly what it was.
Rhino's like a little neighborhood that's 5 to 7 minutes west of me, so it's very
Okay,
convenient.
okay. What else is like? Is Denver known for, or Colorado? Is there like a staple food out there?
Food, maybe not Rocky Mountain oysters, which
Okay,
I don't know if you
are
want
those
to try.
bull's testicles?
Yeah, yeah.
Whew.
I've never have I had those.
I've eaten nuts before. I've eaten sheep nuts in Nice. Uh, they were interesting,
I think they're
but
gamey, is what I understand.
uh,
We're definitely known for beer here
okay,
in Colorado and Denver, so we can definitely go to some breweries. Um, the food scene's pretty decent. I wouldn't say we have a particular dish though.
okay, just like good food scene. Everything's kind of typical American melting pot. There's
Yeah,
a good bit of Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, Thai. You can kind of get a good anything, but the industry's good enough that shitty restaurants don't hang around too long.
yeah, we'll find a few good spots. The Chinese food here sucks though, and I will say that as a Chinese person, that has been a bummer.
Okay.
We'll go to the City Park golf course, the clubhouse there. I think I was telling you about that. Best place to watch a sunset in Denver.
Okay.
It's about 4 blocks from my house, so
Sounds
we'll
good.
go there.
I gotta get into your home gym. I gotta get a little
bit of
fitness
workout
while I'm on the road. But I'm looking forward to it for sure. By the time our viewers are watching this, I will have been or arrived into Colorado, but going for U.S. Open. So super stoked about that. But yeah, Mikey, you're a bloody legend. I can't say enough how much of a pleasure it has been to get to know you, and now to be able to have you on Best Perspective. It's been a real treat, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pazzo. Can't wait to see you soon. And I do want to give a quick shout out to my Johnny Walker teammates because we just lost in finals yesterday on Universe, and we were going for the three-peat.
I'm sorry for not asking about that. Yeah, it would have been a three-peat. I thought I saw somebody say that they had a repeat championship. Maybe it was there Masters and Grandmasters and Great Grand?
Yeah. All 3 divisions. We're Grandmasters.
Okay, so Johnny Encore lost to...
They lost in quarters to Old Bay. No,
you're Johnny Encore?
Johnny Encore's
Walker.
Masters. We're Johnny Walker.
Sorry, my bad. Johnny Walker lost to who in the final?
DC, Black Cans.
Black Cans on Universe. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Just silver medals feel sour when you lose your last game. But you should still be proud of yourself. You know as much. You know that you worked hard to get there. And 1 point away from a championship is a stinger, but that's fuel for next year, Mikey.
Yeah, and at this age, just got to be thankful to be playing it all. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, well, for Mikey, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks for joining us all. We'll catch you next time. Cheers, Mikey.
Peace.